Okay, so let's continue on with Chapter 6 and our second work-along. This work-along, we're going to create a couple of methods for a very simplified cell phone service to create a bill. Created the project already, Chapter 6 _ exercise 2. And first thing I want to do is we're going to be asking the user for input as far as the number of minutes and which plan they have between a regular plan and a premium plan. So let's do an import of the Java util. And let's grab everything in there. So we'll throw an asterisk in there as our wildcard. And that'll be our first line of code. And then inside of our class, but still outside of the main method, we're going to create about 8 constants. So let's start with final static. And this one will be a double. And we're going to call it r_service _change. And that is going to equal 10.00. And then another final static. And this one's going to be an int. And this one will be r_free_minutes. And this one's going to be equal to 50. And then another one, final static. And this will be a double. This one will be r_rate _over _50. And that is going to equal 0.20. So we're going to charge them about 20 cents for every minute over 50. Alright, the R indicates that's for the regular service. I am going to copy this, and then I am going to then paste it again underneath, because my premium service is going to be very similar. So P service change is going to be charge, charge, not change, charge. Service charge for the premium service will be 25. Premium free, so P_free, and we'll change minutes to day, will be 75. And lastly, it will be P_rate, day rate over 75. So P_day_rate over 75. And we're going to charge them a dime. So 10.10. Alright, so we got a couple more to put in. So let's do a final static. And this is going to be an int. And we'll go P_free _night. And that's going to equal 100. And then a final static. P_night _rate _over _100 is going to equal, let's have that equal a nickel, so 0.05. Okay, those are all the constants we want. And the last thing we want to put in this area is we're going to throw in a scanner. So static scanner, we'll call it console, and that's going to equal new scanner, opening paren, system.in, closing paren, semicolon. So, oh, I forgot to, on line 16, I forgot to put that this is a double. So, let's fix line 16, make sure that's a double, and then everything is good there. Alright, so that's all we really need to do for our preparation for our code. Let's continue on to our main, where we are going to have a couple of variables. Let's start off with an integer, and we'll call it an account number. And that is going to just be set there. We're gonna initialize it later on. Let's create a char, and we'll go service type, and we'll initialize that later, and then we'll do a double, and this will be billing amount, and we're good with that. So far, this is what we have. One thing I want to do is I want to go to the very end down here. I'm going to throw in there end of main, just to indicate that that bracket there is the closing bracket for my main. I could do one also down here, which will help make sure that I keep within my class, and I'll call this end of class. Okay, because we're going to throw in a couple of functions in between there. So let's start off with a system.out.print, and in our quotes we'll say enter the account number. Colon space, double quote, closing paren, semicolon. Note that it's not a print ln because the account number will come at the end from the next line. So we're going to go account number, and that is going to equal our council. Dot next int, opening closing paren, semicolon, and that's how we get our account number in. And then let's throw in a system.out.print ln, open closing paren, and get rid of a little x in there. That'll just throw an extra line in it for us so that it looks a little neater when we put in our next print line, our next print statement. So let's do a system.out.print, opening paren, double quote, and enter service type. And we're going to put a colon in there, and I'm going to give them an indication of what the service type should be. So we'll say R or R, closing paren for regular. Double quote, enter next line down, plus, double quote, space, opening paren, lowercase p or uppercase p, closing paren for premium. Service. Colon, space, double quote, closing paren, semicolon. So we're just put it on two lines. That makes it a little easier for the read, so it doesn't go off to the right hand side. So let's go with service type is going to equal council, Next. Is it next any kind or just next? It's just next. Open and closing paren dot char at opening paren, and we're going to throw a 0 in there, closing paren semicolon, because we only want the first character in the string that they're going to enter, and that's going to then be assigned to service type. And then let's throw in a system out.print. So print ln, open and closing paren, semicolon, throw out that x, and that is the first part of our main function. Now we're going to start and throw in a switch. Remember, a switch is kind of a decision-making device where we're going to look at the service type they enter and determine whether it was an uppercase R, lowercase r, and then make the appropriate moves. Okay, so let's start off with switch. Opening paren, and we're going to look at service type. Closing paren. And then next line, opening bracket, and I'll throw down here and switch. Add a little space in there, tab it in, and I'm going to go case, lowercase. Notice I put in so single quote, and I put in a colon at the end of that. And I don't need an R, I need an A, I need an R. So case, single quote, lowercase r, single quote, colon. And the next line is going to line up with that because we're going to have another case, single quote, capital R, single quote, colon. And what this is going to do, it's going to determine whether it was a capital or lowercase, and then do something underneath that as far as making the calculations based off of a regular count, because we're asking them to put R in for regular count. So let's go with billing amount is going to equal regular bill, open and closing paren, semicolon. Okay. The regular bill is a function call. We're calling a function called regular bill that will then do some calculations for us, throw out a billing amount, and then it will bring back that amount to us and assign it to billing amount. So let's then do a system out.print ln, opening paren account, double quote, account number, colon, space, double quote, plus account number, closing paren, semicolon. Next line down, system dot out dot print ln, opening paren, double quote, and we'll say service type regular, double quote, closing paren, semicolon. And lastly, we're going to throw in the amount. So system.out.print f, lowercase f, opening paren, double quote. The f is we're going to use because we're going to format it with specific values. So basically, we're going to tell it to make it the bill 2 decimal points because we're talking about dollars and cents. So we want to use the F because that's how we're going to format our print statement. So after the double quote, we'll go amount, do colon space $, percent, which is going to tell us this is how we're going to start formatting it, 0.2f. So the percent indicates the next string of characters is specifically for the format of 2 decimal places to the right of a float. The F stands for float, and then let's do a %n, closing double quote, and then where we have args for argument, we're going to go billing amount. Closing paren, semicolon. And the last line in here, of course, a break, semicolon, so that we can break out of that and anything underneath it will not be affected. Okay? So from here, I'm going to tighten this up a little bit because I want to see the end of my main, which is pretty far down there for some reason. It's going to be right after the end of my switch. After my main, I'm going to hit enter a few times because here is where I'm going to throw in my first function to calculate the regular bill. Okay, so let's start off with public, meaning that anybody can access it, static. And we're going to return a double, so we want to make sure that we don't put a void in there. We want to say, hey, we're going to return a value. And we're going to call it regular bill, open and closing paren, next line, opening bracket, and then end regular bill. Okay, it's giving me this error because I have not put in a return yet. If I hover over this, say, hey, the method return the result, what's going on? Why didn't I put it in? Well, I haven't put any code in there yet, so I don't have a build yet to return. So from there, I am going to start to code in my my values. So in here is where we're going to ask them for the minutes. So let's create an integer under minutes used, because we're going to ask the user for that. And then let's throw in a double for amount due. That's the value we're going to return, and we're going to set that to 0.0. Right off the bat, we don't want it to have any value. So we'll go with system .out .print opening paren double quote, enter the number of minutes used, colon space double quote, closing bracket, semicolon. And let's go with minutes used is going to equal council dot next int and then we'll throw a space in there with a system.out.println, open and closing paren, of course get rid of the X. Alright, now we have to do our first calculation, our first decision. If, opening paren, minutes used is less than or equal to our constant r underscore minutes, r underscore free underscore minutes, closing paren, opening bracket. We are going to then do a amount due, which remember we created on line 55, is equal to r dot service underscore charge semicolon. A constant we created at the top. If they're within their minutes, we don't do anything with it. Okay? If they're not, else, we are going to then do some kind of calculation because they went over on their minutes and we have to figure out the amount due. So in the else, we'll go amount due is going to equal this calculation. So regular charges R underscore service underscore charge plus opening paren, and this will be minutes used minus r dot underscore free underscore minutes, closing paren, times our r underscore rate underscore over underscore 50 semicolon. That is going to be our calculation for our minutes if we've gone over. And then our last thing we want to do before we go anywhere else, before we do end our regular bill, we have to put our return in there. So return, and that's going to clear out our error on line 52. Return what? We're going to return the amount due. Semicolon. Okay, so that is our calculation for if someone does a goes over the minutes. We're going to do that calculation right here. Clean that up a little bit. That looks pretty good. So now I'm going to go back up to my main because in my switch I have additional conditions that I need to look at. So let's go back to the switch underneath the break, and we'll go case, and this is going to be a lowercase p, colon, or case for an uppercase p, colon, in case I do a premium plan. Then we're going to do billing amount equals premium bill. Open and closing paren, semicolon. Then for the most part, everything underneath that is going to be the same as what we have up here. So we can just copy and paste. Get that out of the way. I want to copy and paste that. And I'm going to throw it underneath my premium. But that's not all I want to do. I've got one more thing I want to do. Default. Colon. The default comes in when they did not put in a R or a P, indicating they didn't put in a proper value for when we asked for a premium or regular plan. So we're going to just give them a system.out.print ln opening paren, double quote, invalid, service, type, entered. exclamation point, double quote, closing paren, semicolon. So that is just going to, if they do not put in a R or a P, it will automatically kick out and say, hey, you did not enter the proper service plan. We have an error here because we have not created our next function or method, which we're going to do down here on line 79. So for my premium, I want to make it public, static, and again we're going to do a double because that's what we're going to return, and then premium bill, open and closing paren, bracket, opening bracket, mark the end, just for clarity, and that should be the last thing we have in here until we hit the end of the class, which would be right there. So all our code is going to go between these two brackets. Of course, first thing we want to do is we're going to throw in there an integer, and it's going to be minutes used. And that's going to be semicolon, and then we're going to do another integer. This is going to be minutes used PN. Okay, so the premium plan has some few different things, and then let's create a double for the amount due and initialize that to 0. Alright, so from there we have to ask them for how many daytime minutes did they use. Remember, premium plan has a split between daytime and nighttime minutes. So let's go with a system .out .print opening paren double quote, and we'll say enter daytime minutes used colon space double quote closing paren semicolon, and let's go with minutes used equals console dot next int semicolon, and throw space in there. System.out.println open closing x. Alright, that's for our daytime minutes. Then we're going to ask them for nighttime minutes. So system.out.print opening paren double quote enter night minutes used double quote closing paren semicolon, and then here's where we're going to use that minutes used PN is going to equal console dot next int, and we'll do another system .out.println open closing paren. Okay, so that's all we really need right now. So the premium plan has a certain charge already in there, so let's go with amount. Due is going to equal P underscore service underscore charge. Start off with that. Okay, And then let's throw in an if statement in there. If underscore minutes used is greater than p underscore free underscore day, then we're going to have to do a little calculating for that. Opening brackets, and we'll go with amount due. Is going to equal amount due plus opening paren minutes used minus p underscore free underscore day closing paren plus, sorry, not plus, but times p underscore day underscore rate underscore over underscore 75 semicolon. And that'll be our calculation for that due. Okay. I do not need an else in here. I am going to do another if though. Oh, got a typo. Free. Alright, so that's for the daytime minutes. Now we're going to figure out for the nighttime minutes. So if minutes used PM is greater than P underscore free underscore night, opening brackets, amount due is going to be equal to amount due plus opening paren minutes used PN minus P underscore free underscore night closing paren times P underscore night underscore rate underscore over underscore 100 closing bracket. Last thing we want to do is do a return to clear up that error we have up at the top. Return amount due semicolon. And that should be, for the most part, the end of our program. So let's go ahead and save this. Oh, it says I got an error or two. Let's take a look. Probably just a typo. Amount due is a double. And sorry about that. I found my error. Here it is. You probably saw it when I typed it, but no, of course nobody told me. I had a minus sign in there in place of a equal sign. So let's try it again. Okay. Oh, another error someplace. Showing the account number. Do premium. Oh, now it's on line 87. Oh, that's just fat fingers there. Save it. All right, number of daytime minutes used, we'll say 50. Number of nighttime minutes used, we'll say 101. And it tells me that I owe $25.05, which would be correct because if you look at the top, my regular rate is $25. I did not go over on my daytime minutes, but I did go over on my nighttime minutes by 1 minute, so that gives me the 5, plus the 25 gives me an answer of 25.05. Go ahead and test yours for both regular and premium, and also test to make sure that you have your default working in case somebody enters something other than R or P. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.